Hi Angel Pies, and welcome to the first recording of A Healing. Today I'm going to be working with Candy on not feeling like she's being understood. So this is just a short example for those of you who I haven't worked with, who don't understand how healing works. So just listen in and be aware that even though you may feel not understood, the sources of these issues may be different for you. So, Candy, hi.
Hi.
So let's have a quick chat about you feeling that you're not understood.
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel that feeling inside of you, where would you say that would be?
Where am I actually feeling it within my
Yeah,
body?
yeah.
I would say it's more my heart
Yeah.
and chest.
Right. And so if you were to rate your feeling that you are understood, let's say that would be a 10, and feeling not understood being 0, where would you be?
Right now I'd say I'm feeling about a 2.
2. So you're feeling quite like you're not being understood.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at this inside Candy and just have a look and see where this is coming from. Okay, so what I'm being shown is you being about 2 years old, and you were stamping your foot and getting fairly agitated. You were trying to express yourself and they just wouldn't get it, and you're actually feeling quite angry. Would you say that you're feeling quite angry when you're feeling that you're not being understood now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, right. And so underneath that anger, though, is also hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, so because generally for those who are listening, generally we feel hurt the first number of times. If you can remember in your own lives, you feel a bit hurt, and then the hurt actually starts to turn into anger and turns into resentment and things like that. So let's just see if that's the first cause. So I'm just going to do a scan of Candy and look back if there's anything else in the past life or genetic factors or her ancestors to see if there's anything else in regards to this feeling of not understood. So okay, so what I'm being shown for Candy now is a past life when she was a princess, and she was very admired and very loved, but she was more like let's say a fashion model these days on the front of a magazine, and people would just look at her and go, oh, you're so beautiful.
So everything was very superficial back then.
Very superficial.
And so therefore people didn't actually want to hear me or hear what I had to say. It was all about my looks and about what I represented as opposed to who I am.
Exactly.
Which is how I'm currently feeling.
Right. Okay, cool. So let's just have a look. I'm just going to have a look back earlier in that life and just see where that actually stems from. There's usually like a cause, and so I'm just going to have a look at the cause. Okay, so what I'm seeing is her mother in that particular life, her focus was very on if her daughter's going to be beautiful, because it was very, very important in this time that the daughter be absolutely beautiful, and intelligence wasn't such a factor, and listening to women also wasn't such a factor. So that was her main concern, and that was her main concern when you were in the womb, was how are you going to appear, not are you going to feel happy?
Yep.
So those sorts of things, I mean, it's just a sign of the times, basically. Yep. So, okay, so let's just see if there's anything else from that time. Okay, and so there was actually a fair bit of rebellion in you also as a child. Okay. So basically you had this rebelliousness in it. You knew in your heart that you didn't want to be the way that they were saying that you needed to be.
Yep.
And it didn't feel right for you. And of course back then you weren't actually taught to be in alignment with your heart and to be in alignment with your soul and what your yearnings are. So it was all about how you're looking and who you're going to be married off to and how that's going to suit everybody else.
So it's very much the superficial thing, and currently in my life I'm wanting to be much more on a genuine basis, so that's where I'm having the clash and why this has started to come up now.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and this is your time in your journey in the way that you want to live your life, that's important for this. And this is why these things come up. For those of you who are listening, it doesn't mean that it is bad. It is not a judgment thing. These things come up.
When you're wanting to change.
So you're wanting to change, right? And change is very possible, and change does not have to take a long time. And that's what part of this recording is also about, is letting you see that. So, or hear that, I should say. So let's just see if there's anything else then. So part of it also was your mum's grief about not having the life that she wanted to live in that time, in that past life that we're referring to. So she didn't have that, and you actually picked up on that. Okay, so that was that feeling of slight depression, not being able to do these things, and feeling that you can't, and feeling that it's impossible. Do you see how that relates to now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so let's just do a clearing on that. So when those of you listening, when I'm saying let's do a clearing on that, I'm going to ask Candy what she wants instead, because time is really quite circular. So the past actually can be changed. Those time machine movies are not correct. You can actually change the past. And so then I'll ask Candy, she's the person I'm working with right now, what would you like instead? What would you have liked in that life instead?
Well, I'd like to be able to be true to myself, to know what it's like to be me, to be listened to be heard, and for me to be able to identify, well, I want to be a genuine person. I want to be understood for that. I don't want everything to be on a superficial nature, which is what it's feeling, and it's feeling like I'm not being heard because what I'm saying is not important, but it's important to me. So therefore, as it's my life, it should be really important. So I'd like to know what it's like to feel all of that, and to feel accepted to be me, and accepted to be heard for being me.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now, for you, those of you listening, I'm just going to be quiet for maybe about 10-15 seconds, and we're just going to go through the process and make sure that all of those things that Candy wants is enacted in that time, which is actually happening right now. It's a huge thing to get your head around, but it doesn't matter. Soul knows exactly what I'm talking about, and you actually might feel the resonance of this with inside you. So I'm just going to do this for you now, Candy.
Yep.
So what I'm seeing now in the past with a few changes already is that your mum's looking at you in a different light. And this is when you're about 2 years old. And she's looking at you with sort of like an inquisitiveness and wow, you know? She's like, wow, you're actually quite amazing, you know? And it's something that she, you know, didn't feel herself. So that's actually quite beautiful. And we'll see what else has other things go in. Okay, so there is still a bit of anger there, and it relates to your dad's pattern in that life. Your dad, you know, who he would just get furious. So it's actually in the genetic structure in that past life. So let's just do a clearing on that. You happy to let that go?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so he appears to have softened and you appear to have softened. Is there anything else that you would have liked back then?
Nothing that I can think of.
Okay. So let's bring all that beauty and all those gifts and those ways of being all through time through to now. So you retaining that sense of power throughout any lifetimes after that. Okay, the only thing that I'm still seeing sort of sticking from back then is hurt from your mum, and it's like you've taken that on to help her. So do you want perspective on why you did that? And we'll get the answer about that.
Yep.
Okay, so it's like this belief that you feel that love is being sorry for people. So that's coming back from them, and you sort of felt this sympathy. It was more of a sympathy than an empathy. You know what I mean? So you
Okay.
felt this sympathy for your mother back then and her life. But what you really needed back then was the understanding that that is her life and those are her choices, and that by, taking that on, you're taking away her power to deal with it
Yep.
herself. So let's just get that. Are you happy to have
Yeah,
that?
absolutely.
And how to just see her in her power then, because she did have power. She was able to actually live differently and have a different perspective. She was very much loved by your father in that lifetime, and so she really could have whatever she wanted, but she just felt that she couldn't. So that was just her little block. Okay, now even after changing that with you, she looks a lot happier, so that's good. Okay, so let's go back to this being feeling that you're not understood. So you felt that you were really not understood before, like it was a 2 out of a 10, and 10 being feeling that she's really understood. So how do you feel in regards? Just tune into that. Just see where you're at now.
It feels a lot better. It feels like about a 6 now.
About a 6. Okay, so then what we do is we just have another look. Okay, so there is some childhood stuff. There is some school stuff there, and it was actually about you not understanding and you feeling that you can't understand certain concepts.
Yeah, and that means that if I can't understand what's going on, well, then no one's going to be able to understand me because I can't get it across. Yeah, no, that's hit something there.
Okay, so let's just have a look and see where that's coming from. Okay, so your dad's coming through quite clearly, and so is your oldest brother.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like a little genetic block there, and it's like because you felt that you were more like them rather than like the girls in your class, like you've modelled that part of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's just shift this for you. It's like a belief that so many things cannot be understood. Like there is so many things that is just beyond our comprehension, and we're never going to understand them. So by doing that, it's putting a lock on your abilities to actually understand anything that you want.
So you're saying that there's a cap?
There's a cap, yeah. There's been a cap created in your family line, and so that's something that you've inherited. And then not only also inherited, also, it's been placed on you emotionally as a child. You can't do this. No, you can't. No,
it's just not possible.
It's not possible. So do you want to clear that from you? Yep. And how to recognise that love is not taking on other people's concepts of, ability. Do you know what I mean? Like you do not need to take on their stuff about you can only do this or that to prove that you love them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You ready to let that one go? That's quite a big one.
That is a big one. Yeah. That's just, wow.
Okay. So let's let that go. And some of it also comes back to this fear of not being loved. What I'm seeing is quite ancestral, actually. I'm seeing boats and journeys and, going to places where you don't know anyone or don't know what's there. Not you specifically. It could have been you,
whoever it is.
In a past life, but it's an ancestral thing. It's like we're going to a place. It's this total fear about going into the unknown and having people who you don't know and... Yeah, ringing a bell.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Okay. So what that for those of you listening, that actually gets stored. The DNA is like just like a huge, massive memory bank, like information bank, really like a library. So these things get stored in there, and we can act from different parts. I mean, we all have amazing things stored in our DNA, but then we can also be acting from things that aren't so great for us, depending on what it is that we want to do. So a part of healings is going through that information and just releasing stuff that no longer serves you. The memory still may be there. You might be able to go back to the memory, but the emotional hold, and the hold of it on you dissipates. And sometimes that just happens through understanding and knowing it. You don't always have to do a healing on this stuff. So, but would you like a healing on that stuff anyway, Candy?
Yeah, no, definitely.
How does that feel? How do you feel about the unknown and people in the unknown in the future?
Wow, that's also shifted.
That's not actually, for those of you listening, that's actually not what we were starting to work on. So it's really, really interesting. We started off with all about being understood, and then we've gone in a total different direction. But although it appears to be different,
all linked.
It's all linked. So it just shows that the information in us, we're like a spider's web, if you will, or we're like, like an ocean where everything's communicating with every other thing. So this is why when we say healing's on something, it can go into completely different things. You're working on your foot, you could go into, your family's habits of feeling held back and not being able to do anything. So this is how that happens. Okay, so we've had a little more of a look. So what we do is we're just gauging where Candy's at and her feelings. So you felt really that you were not understood, but you were from a 2 to a 6, getting towards feeling understood. Where are you at now? Do you feel that shifted at all?
Yeah, it's shifted again. I'd say it's more like an 8 now.
Okay. So there's some more stuff there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask my guides and ask Candy's guides what else is there. Okay. So what your dragon told me is you're never going to get it.
Cheeky dragon.
Now, her dragon doesn't actually mean that. But her dragon's saying that is what Candy actually feels like. She's never going to get there.
Yeah, that's the feeling that's there.
Okay. Now, can you remember where this is from, or you want me to have a look?
Look, I've felt it most of my life. I'm never going to get it. It's beyond my reach. Beyond my reach is the feeling that's there. It's feeling school, but I don't know if that's the beginning of it.
Okay, so as soon as you were saying that, I had a vision of you in like a cot, like a, those things that those baby, when you're a baby, you're in the cot for the safety. It's what we call it here in Australia. And so you're trying to reach for the side and you can't do it, and actually someone looks like your mother coming in and just looking at you and just disinterested. It's like, this is disinterest. Oh yeah, she's just that. Does this ring a bell for you?
Well, it's making me very upset.
Yeah.
It's making me feel like it doesn't matter what I want, I'm never going to get it, and no one cares.
No one cares. That's right. So,
well,
that's not true. It's not true. All right. So let's just have a look. Why? Why did this happen? Okay. What it really goes back to is not having enough love, is not having enough cuddles, is not being picked up enough. It's this desperation to get the love from those people who are around you, and you didn't really feel it in your heart. And that's why you blocked off your empath stuff for so long.
Okay, for those of you who can't see, I am tearing up. She's hit a chord.
Yeah. So basically what we can do is we can change that. What would you like, Candy?
Well, I'd like to know what it does feel like to be loved, to be able to be held, be wanted, be nurtured, be supported, and to know what it feels like to be human, to have all of those human needs that for a very long time I've never had, or I felt like I've never had, and I've never understood it. And when I've watched other people get it, I feel sad because I go, I don't understand it.
Okay.
And I can see why that's blocking my empath ability. I mean, because I see that in another person and that just hurts like hell.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know what it feels like to have experienced that from way back then all the way through to now.
Okay. Let's get that. Let's get that. Okay, so what I can see you now is when you're a baby, even in the womb, I can see your little dragon in there with you.
I got the cutest dragon guide.
You do. You've got the most beautiful dragon guide wrapping its wings around you and making you feel safe and feel wanted and feel loved and feel nurtured and feel divinely protected, you know, and that you can have these things.
Wow, I can feel that changing.
Yeah.
I can actually feel that in my heart changing. I can feel a warmth there.
I can see you in the cot now, and I can see this beautiful guide around you, this beautiful lady, and she's there with you and she's talking to you, and now you can see her. And you're smiling, and you're knowing there are those there who wish to help you. There are those there who will listen to you. There are those there who will understand you. Are you ready to fully receive those people into your life who fully and completely understand you and hold you in their embrace?
Yeah.
Okay. So just breathe into that. Okay, and so now I'm seeing you getting older. I'm seeing it's really not so much your family, but it's all these beings in these other dimensions. You know,
it's all the beings that I've blocked off.
All those ones that you haven't been. For those of you who are listening, Candy's found it a bit difficult to connect with her clairvoyance. And this is part of what I do to help people is connect with their psychic abilities. And so that was actually what we've been working on actually has gone into the reasons, you know, why she had blocked off by not feeling that, you know, that she was loved and things like that. And what I'm actually seeing when I'm doing these healings for Candy is these beings around her and her actually being aware of them. So...
and being accepting of them.
Yep.
I can feel it. I can feel a shift there.
Yeah, beautiful.
I actually feel like someone used to read to me as a child. Now, that never actually happened, but I feel like it did now.
That's right.
I feel like that there was someone there.
Yeah.
Because I spend a lot of my time without someone there and without the parental figure. And that feels completely different now. It's like I know that though my biological family weren't there, it feels very much like a spirit family was there.
That's right.
And then I feel... actually, I don't feel alone.
Yay.
And that's something
That's
that
wonderful.
I've struggled with for 30-odd years, is feeling alone, and I don't feel that right now.
That's fabulous because the room's pretty full. That is so wonderful, Candy. I am so rapt to be a part of that. So let's go back to what we're working on originally.
Wow.
Is really amazing how this works. So you're feeling not understood. And you're, you know, and then, so feeling understood is a 10, feeling not understood is a 0. So you were 8 last time. Do you feel any better about that, or is there more there?
Look, I think there may still be more there, but it feels so much better. And I'm just tripping off the actually feeling loved thing. I don't think I could tune back into the not feeling understood. So
because she's all about feeling loved now.
Yeah, because you've shifted so many things there that it's I can't go back to the feeling not understood. Because you know what, it feels like I just need to find another way of communicating.
That's right.
As opposed to they're not going to listen to me. It now feels like, okay, well, maybe they don't understand. How else can I explain this so that they understand? Rather than me going straight into the limitation and feeling like that's blocked, it's now feeling like, well, that's okay. It's not that they don't want to listen, which is where it was before, I think.
Yeah.
It's now about, okay, well, maybe this is just a language barrier or we have different experiences barrier, and now I just need to try to find a different way. So
beautiful.
that feels like it's completely shifted.
And how do you feel that you'll find this different way?
I feel it in two ways. I feel one, I'm just going to connect with my heart, and two, I'm going to be able to connect a lot easier with my guides in working with me.
There you have it. Well done, sweetie. How beautiful.
Well done to me. Well done to you. You're the one who found it.
You know, it's all our guides and everything and our angels and the divine. So thanks be to all of these angels who are here to help us with this process. And for you angels listening, I hope you enjoyed the recording. And I'll talk to you soon. Lots of love, Adelphi. Bye.